Peterman, 596 Wilson Street. First off, I just wanted to thank Dr. Sparrow again. I was slightly disappointed, as I'm sure I'm not the only one to hear that you were leaving. I just wanted to say that I wouldn't be the only one that would miss your gentle firmness that you just seem to exude, that seemed to keep me in line somehow in middle school gym class, and I appreciate it. Thank you. So, as most of you all know, I'm here because I'd like to see JROTC removed from the Pottstown School District. My first reason for tonight is the cost of 2 teachers. And I understand that there's funding that comes from the Department of Defense that helps split the cost gives half of the cost for both teachers. And I'd like to point out that there's more cost associated with each teacher than simply their pay. You have health insurance, retirement, things like that don't get accounted for in that money. So it's not quite as good of a bargain as it may seem at first. Another thing too is that I think we should call into consideration the fact that money is not free for many. So there's always an agenda behind someone giving money for anything. The second thing I'd like to point out, I brought a little help from Dr. King with me because he's much more wise and well-spoken than I am. And he delivered a speech beyond Vietnam a year before he was assassinated. And in the speech, he talks about the giant triplets of racism, materialism, and militarism, and how we have to stand up and do everything we can to go against these things and not let them be present in our society. So, as much as I'd love to read you all the hour-long speech, I know we don't have time for that, and that you would all be quite upset at me if I did. So, one thing I'd like to highlight, and before I read the quote, I'm going to replace the word Vietnam with some of the conflicts that are going on now in the world, and you'll all see how it easily applies today as well as it did in '64, I think it was. So Dr. King said, "We must move past indecision to action. We must find new ways to speak for peace in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, to name a few, and move toward justice through the developing world, a world that borders on our doors. If we do not act, we shall surely be dragged down the long, dark, and shameful corridors of time, reserved for those who possess power without compassion, might without morality, and strength without sight." So, I feel like this is the perfect quote for why I oppose JROTC, because I feel like we're overlooking what Dr. King said, and that we have to do our best to teach children compassion, morality, and sight before we give them power, might, and strength. And then once we've taught them those things and they have those guides in place, they can step into the power and the strength that we all assume as we grow older, and then make the choice to join the military once they've had those things in place. That we shouldn't simply coax them along towards something before they have the necessary skills to make the decisions that need to be made that affect so many lives in the world. So that's all I have for tonight, but I thank you all for hearing.